Okay, so it is time to get some soil built. Let's talk about that next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here today. It is a beautiful Saturday morning, it's November 2nd, 2019. So what we wanted to talk about today is actually a couple things that we've got going on right here from the very beginning here on the farm, and how we're going to be trying to figure out some ways around some of the things that are, let's just call them complications here on the new property. So our biggest issue here is we have no fencing, so we've got completely open space, and as Lori pans around, you'll get just an idea of just how open it all is. If you guys follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you've seen a couple pictures and videos that we've shown of cattle just running right through the property. We've had a cowboy rustling up and rounding up some of his cattle. We've had several cattle actually on top of our wood chips. I'll show you that here in a second. But we have absolutely no fencing up. So the biggest challenge for us here right off the bat is going to be cattle, because we have an open range. We have cattle coming through here. The nice part about that is they are leaving manure all over the property already, which is fantastic. We actually are kind of attracting them here. I don't have a problem with that. However, we do have some tree starts that we need to make sure we can keep and get into the ground. So we figure, okay, well, we know the easiest way that we have to protect those would be utilizing something we already had in place. That would be our chicken tractors. So we've had these since we moved in. All of our plant starts that you'll see behind me here, those are all trees that we started ourselves, either from just cuttings or also from air layering. Also a couple of our kumquats that we had in pots. So all of those we had in a separate area on the old property, and we were basically just keeping them for this property. So now that we're here, what we've done is we've actually been keeping them in our chicken tractors. Our chicken tractors are unused because we don't have broilers. We won't have broilers all season. We won't start those till next fall, hopefully, because we have no pasture. But we have some chicken tractors that are not being used. So what we did is we took all of these, we piled them into the chicken tractors while we were getting moved in, and we actually had them on the other side of the farm. So as we were trying to figure out what we could do as far as utilizing what we know those pots create and utilizing this space back here behind the chicken run, so what we've decided to do is we've decided to go ahead and build soil. Now, one of the things when it comes to building soil that we've talked about before is we do utilize wood chips, and the process of them breaking down actually does a fantastic job of creating soil here in our harsh desert climate. Now the challenge to that is mainly water. So we don't have moisture on those wood chips. So the top layers of wood chips have a tendency to be very dry unless they're getting continuous moisture through irrigation. Now we don't have irrigation here either, but we need to make sure we're keeping these potted plants alive. We know that we can build soil with our wood chips, which we're going to be utilizing, and I know that I need to keep all of my plants safe from the cows. So what we've decided to do is take the area that we know we're going to have trees in here in the next year, and we talked about it during our last video when we were talking about protecting our chicken run and getting some of the shade cloth up there. So what we figured we would do is go ahead and take care of protecting our starts, utilizing our chicken tractors to do that. We're going to put wood chips down so we can build soil at the same time, because obviously those pots will drain. And what's even better, not only will we be building soil with the wood chip breakdown, but I want to show you something really quick that we already knew was happening underneath our pots. Okay, so we have the pots here, as you can see, and then as I go down here and look at the ground, you're going to clearly see all the worm activity. They're a little cold, so they're not moving fast, but we've got worms all over the place. So we want to give these guys a new home. So as you can see, the great part about having these potted plants from the other property is we already have worms here on the farm. So we want to make sure we have a nice cozy home for those worms to stay, build soil at the same time, protect our plant starts from the cows, those pesky cows, and get all that done at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here. We're actually behind, we're on the west side of our chicken run. We already know we're going to have multiple trees back here that we're going to be putting in the ground. Also some vines to help grow over the run itself so we can eventually get some natural shading like we talked about in that video. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start building soil here. So all winter and into spring, before we get these into the ground, we'll be building building soil back here. So of course, what we need now in order to start this is we need wood chips. So found some wood chips. We've had several drops of wood chips. We're actually using Chip Drop, which, by the way, if you're in the city in particular, a fantastic way to utilize a service that takes tree trimming companies, connects them with you because you want wood chips for fertilization, and brings them right to you. So we've had some pretty good luck. We found one in particular that comes and dumps on a regular basis now. However, we did start through Chip Drop. One hint, especially if you're out on more of the outskirts of town, is you want to make sure you're paying for that dump. We did, and that's how we got a couple of different companies to come out, start dumping those wood chips. We also said we would take some logs, so there are a few logs in here as well. However, it's a nice mix of wood chips. At our very first drop, which is over there next to the truck, we're going to take that whole thing, load up probably one or two times that, load up the truck once or twice, and get the rest of that pile of wood chips over into that area. Now, one of the things this is teaching us pretty quickly, we do not have a tractor here on the farm. However, we're definitely going to need one because it would sure be fantastic to just have a nice bucket in the front loader that we can take and just scoop one big scoop at a time, dump it over there. But we don't. So what you guys get to do is watch a little bit of Lori and I shoveling a bunch of wood chips. We're going to go ahead and do that now. So we have the bed loaded, and what I wanted to show you really quick is one of the things that Lori and I found out the other night, having only been here a couple weeks now, is we had cows that we have coming through here at night, heard them mooing. So we had put in some spotlights so we can see pretty much back to what we have back here to the wood chip pile. So we came out one night, flicked on those lights for the first time, and there was a herd of cattle literally all over this wood chip pile. They were up on top of it. It was kind of surreal, kind of crazy to see. But what I really liked is knowing that we have cattle up there that are eating whatever they're finding in here that they can eat. And then what they're leaving for us is this. So they're leaving one of the most wonderful things we can possibly have completely free, and that's cow manure. So we have raw cow manure here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cow manure, it's all over the place back here and it's drying up really well. So I'm going to take this cow manure, and that's actually what we're going to put down at the base underneath the wood chips. So as they break down over the next 6 to 8 months, these will break down along with it, and guess what? Worms are going to absolutely love it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick some of these up, throw them on top of the pile. Then let's take this back over to the chicken run. Here we are, we've got a few cow patties up there that we're going to be putting on the ground first. What we've done is we've marked off enough space to basically get 2 chicken tractors back to back. And what we're shooting for is about 8 to 12 inches deep of wood chips that we'll be able to pull the tractors up on top of and basically set them on top of all of our plant starts. So now, of course, Lori and I get back to work, get this unloaded and fill in this space here so we have somewhere to place those tractors. So we got probably about 2/3 or so of the back of the truck unloaded. We've built this up. I'm going to say it's probably about 1 foot or so off the ground. Trying to build a ramp up here. We're going to be bringing the chicken tractor up here once we place the potted plants on top of here. You saw me go ahead and put down some manure down at the bottom and kind of break that up a little bit. I'm going to definitely want more of that for the next spot, which is the reason why you see wood chips in the back of the truck still. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide back over, fill the truck back up full of wood chips, and get the second section done, then come back to you on the next step. Okay, so we're done. So we got the second section done, got all the wood chips down. We got plenty of manure on that second round. I'll tell you what, one of the permaculture principles is the problem is the solution. The problem of free range cattle becomes the solution. They put manure down for me that I can take to put down at my base, and I know those worms are gonna go right for that and just chow down and replicate. So got that done. Now what we need to do is we need to get all of our potted trees into areas that will fit inside the chicken tractors. So we're gonna go ahead and place those now, and as we're doing that, we have some wood chips left in the truck. We're going to go ahead and take those wood chips and top off the pots. We want to have those very well insulated for the winter months, and also kind of keep that moisture consistent, because you know, here we are beginning of November, it's 80 degrees today, completely dry, so these will still be getting watered 2 or 3 times a week at least. So we're going to want to go ahead and do that. So we're going to get that done now, come back to you once we get those placed. Okay, so you can see behind me here, we went ahead and got the trees placed. We definitely have this one a little more spread out than the other one, but you kind of get the idea. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back through and we're gonna get the 2 chicken tractors, place them over the top. So Lori and I are gonna do a little muscle work here and get them lifted up over the top. So let's go ahead and do that now. So like that, we're done. So that took us a couple hours to do, but a couple things that I want to point out. Number one, you saw Lori and I lifting these bad boys over the top. The reason why we did that is these are actually made out of pressure treated wood, which is fine, don't have an issue with that. However, they do break down when you have a lot of water up against them. So I really wanted to get these on top of the wood chips. Now obviously we're gonna have some wood chips that are gonna get pushed to the sides, pushed up against that wood, but I didn't want to have the wood chips buried and pushed up against the wood on the inside. So really wanted to do the best we could, getting these chicken tractors on top. Second thing, of course, you'll see is that we made them about as wide as the tractors. And again, that's also on purpose. We do have to come back through here when we go to actually plant trees here. We're gonna have to remove the wood chips in order to dig down into the ground to get the trees planted. And then of course, we'll expand the space that we're giving wood chips. We'll probably bring it out another 2 or 3 feet in order to give the trees that we'll be planting here plenty of space to root out. So for the most part, I think we're good. I know we're gonna be able to keep the cows out of here. What's nice is they're still going to be interested, so they're going to come over here, throw manure down on the ground, which is fantastic. They'll continue to throw manure down over there on the wood chip pile. So we're definitely building soil at this point. So the next thing for Lori and I to do, water these guys all the way in. We'll water these a few times a week, get plenty of water down on top of those wood chips, allow the bugs and microbes and the fungi to continue to break those down. One of the things that I do want to mention here, when we were going through and removing the wood chips that were on that pile, that was the first drop of wood chips that we got. It's been over there for, I think it's been about 3 months or so. We had one steady downpour that lasted a couple days here about a month or 2 ago that wet those down one time. The bottom of that wood chip pile had already started breaking down, making beautiful black soil. So we know that's going to continue to happen here. We've got these protected from our cattle. We're building soil underneath. Man, what a great thing to see. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you click on that link and start there with your Amazon shopping, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. Oops.